And a big welcome into the Thursday edition of LCPioneers.com Live, presented by Pios Stream. We broadcast live Tuesday through Friday, 11:30 a.m. It is April 30th, so we're approaching the end of our week. Still two great guests coming up on today and tomorrow's show. We hope you can join us again every Tuesday through Friday at 11:30 at lcpioneers.com/live, broadcasting through Facebook and archived on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/lcpios. Good morning. I am Ryan Goff. I am the play-by-play voice and director of athletic communications for Lewis and Clark College. We're based in Portland, Oregon, part of the Northwest Conference in NCAA Division III. We compete in the conference against institutions from Northwest Oregon and throughout the state of Washington, and then nationwide through the power of NCAA Division III against institutions over 430 nationwide, and Lewis and Clark supplying outstanding study abroad, overseas study opportunities to give our student athletes and students alike chances to go overseas and explore. It's a pretty well rounded opportunity for sure, based in Portland, Oregon. Today, our guest is Jimmy Chau. He's the head tennis coach for Lewis and Clark. He's leading both the men's and women's programs, and he's an alumnus of Lewis and Clark. So we'll ask him a lot of things about his journey to Lewis and Clark. He's in his 15th season overall as a member of the Lewis and Clark coaching staff, class of 2001 at Lewis and Clark. And of course, with the coronavirus pandemic, his season was one of the ones that was definitely cut short. They played a few Northwest Conference matches, but really didn't get into the bulk of everything. So he had a lot of seniors who didn't get to compete in their final season. So we'll talk to him about that and get his thoughts on what that senior class meant to him coming up shortly. We do want to invite you to connect with us. You can ask questions, maybe suggest guests you want to see on the show as we broadcast 4 times a week at LC Pioneers on Twitter and Instagram. In the comments below, hello to Emily, our head volleyball coach, watching us on lcpioneers.com/live. She has her coffee chat coming up at noon today, so we'll see if she wants to comment on the guests that they're having for that. Also, you can email us sports@lclark.edu, or if you have any questions, you can let us know in the comments below. A couple of things that are going on in the world of Lewis and Clark athletics. Do want to give a big congratulations to women's swimming junior Sabrina Murray, announced yesterday on the Inclusion and Multicultural Engagements Instagram. She was their Excellence in Inclusive Engagement Award winner. Pretty cool to see one of our student athletes who are involved in the IME office to get that opportunity, be honored as they're announcing all this week their IME awards. If you didn't know, and perhaps you can catch up with our conversation with the IME director, Angela Gintz, from last Friday. That's at youtube.com/lcpios. The IME banquet is one of those events on campus where they present the awards in person, usually without pandemics and all. And it's been raved about, one of the best events on campus, along with things like the Luau from Hawaii Club. And so it would have been neat to see Sabrina cross the stage, get her award. But certainly she's one of our best student athletes, both in competition, certainly, but in the building champions philosophy and what she does in the classroom in competition, character, and community. So big congratulations to her. You can follow IME on Instagram, IME_LC. And then we've talked about this a couple times this week, but Lewis and Clark was featured, or at least a cameo. Featured is probably an overstatement, in Pamplin Sports Center in the ESPN documentary called The Last Dance. It's about the 97-98 Chicago Bulls. And right now you can see that story on our Twitter, twitter.com/LCPioneers. But I bring that up because Willamette Week was kind enough to follow up on our tweet and find out that actually one of our facilities personnel actually snuck into one of the practices during the 92 finals and had a really cool story to tell. So we decided to link that as well on our Twitter, LC Pioneers on Twitter. With all of that said, and our guest waiting, we will bring in Jimmy Chau, head coach of Lewis and Clark men's and women's tennis. He is in his third year as the head coach, and or at least starting his third year, and 15th overall on the staff. We appreciate Jimmy taking the time to join us on lcpioneers.com live. Jimmy, how is your Thursday treating you?
Pretty solid. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we appreciate you taking the time to join us. It's been an odd spring, certainly for all of our spring sports, including your tennis programs. It's also the day, I mean, April 30th was when we would have had our Excellence in Lewis and Clark's Year of Sports Awards, our LCs. And part of that is the big presentation of the seniors. They go across the stage and get their letters. I'm curious, through the pandemic and everyone leaving campus, How have you stayed in touch with your seniors? What has this particular group of seniors meant to you?
Oh my, you're gonna make me relive this again. Um, yeah, so I mean, this group was special in a lot of different ways, probably for the balance that they brought to the table, and it's definitely something that I champion as we, go through this process of being a college student athlete. And this group was amazing, both on and off the court. Um, we kind of shared some times together over a Zoom meeting. I guess that was last Saturday. That would have been our conference championships if we had gotten there. And so a lot of my comments were kind of there, but kind of rehashed that a little bit. Basically, we got to share moments with friends and family on a Zoom call. A lot of people had comments, and in a lot of ways, it was even more special, possibly, than having a traditional senior day back on campus. So it was good. Obviously, nothing replaces a majority of a season, but we did have a great fall season and a California trip as well that, there were some great moments, even though it was cut a little short.
Absolutely disappointing that you guys weren't able to finish out the season and have the opportunity to honor them. But it is kind of neat that, in the face of this adversity and everyone having to scramble to get online and take, remote classes and all that, that you found a way to kind of make it meaningful. Um, I'm curious, how you persevere kind of in the long-term effect of this too. From a program standpoint, you're going to have underclassmen returning, juniors returning, who didn't get that full spring season. I mean, what kind of effect, I suppose, is the best way to frame that? Can that have on your program, and how are you trying best to mitigate that?
I mean, well, we're all kind of in the same boat, every program, every team, every college out there. So we're trying to do the best we can. Obviously, for a while there, um, we were just trying to survive a little bit, kind of keep our head above water, um, figure this all out. And I think just as the semester is kind of winding down, we've done a really good job of steadying the boat, so to speak. And now we're starting to really look forward to the future a little bit, as opposed to just taking care of the day to day. So, um, you know, as we kind of finish out the year, I want to definitely finish it out before we look too far in the future. But yeah, the wheels are turning, and the coaching staff has ideas, and we're about to turn the page and hopefully move forward from here on out.
And one thing to note too, coming up next week on our Instagram, we will be doing our virtual LCs to try to make sure that as much of the normal ceremony as we would have had today, we can at least do virtually with some of the best moments of the year, honoring our seniors from all of our programs. So be looking for that at Instagram with LC Pioneers as our handle. He's Jimmy Chau. He's the head coach of Lewis and Clark Tennis, joining us on lcpioneers.com live. I mentioned in the opening, you've been with the staff a long time, 15 years, but you're entering now your third season coming up this fall as the head coach. I'm curious, as you've gone through your first couple of years, goals for the program that maybe you kind of set, things you wanted to see at the beginning, and how have those things kind of come to fruition as you move into your next off season?
Again, I always go back to that balance and it being about the experience. In the tennis program, we've definitely had some great success on the court recently, which is great, and obviously we look to continue that and push forward even more. Um, but there are other things too in life, in college, that we also try to keep as much focus on as possible. So um, my staff is definitely put together in that way. I mean, if you look across the country, we probably have the biggest staff in the country, Division 1, 2, or 3, and they're amazing. Whether on the court, you mentioned a little bit about the Last Dance. Occasionally, when I look out at practice and see the coaches that are standing there, I have to pinch myself a little bit. With Grand Slam winners out there, players who have played on tour, D1 athletes all over, and then also people who are the top in their field on our campus as well. So, it's a balancing act for us, not only top level tennis, from our coaches and their experience, and our Coach Ange, but also everything else.
You reference Coach Ange, who's the only strength and conditioning coach, head coach full time, the Northwest Conference, a great asset to all of our programs. Elaborate on those faces that you see in the LNC Tennis Dome, the location in Portland, and how this particular area has some of that great tennis talent, and how you've been able to, over the years, have them be on the staff.
Yeah, I mean, I keep on thinking of Portland as the U.S.'s best kept secret. I think we really have the perfect combination of everything here, and it doesn't take much to convince a coach to want to live here, to want to coach amazing student athletes, um, and find a life here, kind of settle down and put roots down here. So, obviously we try to get that message across to our recruits as well. And once they step foot on campus, I think they all realize that. So it's pretty easy. I've grown up in Portland all my life, so I've seen it all. We've grown from a small, sleepy little town to one that's pretty cutting edge and vibrant, is the word I like to use, with everything going on just 10 minutes from campus.
Yeah, it's certainly one of my favorite places on earth for sure. You talked about, being around here for so long. What was it about Lewis and Clark when you were looking into your collegiate career, what you wanted to accomplish academically, the opportunity to go on to the tennis program? What was it about Lewis and Clark that kind of struck you initially as a student athlete, and how have some of those things kind of carried over into your professional career?
Full disclosure, I didn't choose Lewis and Clark to play sports. I was a walk-on, and barely was a walk-on for that matter, taking an intermediate tennis class at the time. Um, Definitely our program's in a different place now. Lucky enough for me, we had a coach back then who, I guess, saw a little bit of potential in me. Yeah, it's crazy. And let me try out for the team. So, back to your original question, why I chose Lewis and Clark. Honestly, a lot of it was academic merit at the time, which is great because I don't think our family would have been able to afford it otherwise. I love the Northwest, so while I did check out schools out of state, staying home was a great option for me. I'm a legacy, so I had actually a cousin who graduated from LC and gave me glowing reviews. And all that put together with the academic programs and everything made it a perfect choice for me. And tennis was just the cherry on top later on.
Uh, Jimmy Chau joining us on lcpioneers.com live. We do the show Tuesday through Friday at 11:30. So how have those things kind of stuck with you? Your experience at Lewis and Clark, and now being a member of the staff. When you talk to prospective student athletes, when you talk to current student athletes who are on your team, what is it about this experience, this opportunity that really hits home for you?
I think for me, it was just kind of the family feel atmosphere. Again, my coach at the time was a big part of that in, just being a mentor to me. And obviously he's still connected with us. I still have breakfast with him every so often. And just the people around. A lot of folks you see on campus nowadays are LC alum, and it's just the feel that you get when you're on campus, and the people in the administration and the staff, they're all pulling for you, and it's easy to want to give back to a place that has that kind of feel.
So now your team is off campus. You have everyone kind of finishing up classes. In fact, today's the last day of classes. We'll move into finals next week. What have you found as some of the most valuable ways for everyone to keep in touch with each other? I think you mentioned Zoom a little bit earlier. What are those experiences been like, and how eager are you to have everyone back on campus?
Yeah, every year, usually right around this time, we're pretty beat up a little bit. It's been a long season. We look forward to the break a little bit. Midsummer rolls around and those tennis camps are going, and you start to miss the kids. But I think all of that just happened a little more quickly this year. So we're definitely missing their smiling faces um, and everything right now. Yeah, we've been doing, you know, a little bit of Zoom and all that. I know, they don't want to see their coach every day, is my guess, but we managed to make it happen. And all the different kinds of technology that I'm trying to catch up with today, Snapchat and all that, has made it pretty fun to stay connected to them.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard stories kind of similar in the sense that things that people weren't using before technologically all of a sudden has kind of emerged as something that they really have ended up enjoying. So it sounds like in your case that might have been something for you as well. When you think back to your time as a student athlete, I've been asking a lot of folks who've come on the show, best story. What was something about a moment in time that really stood out that maybe you still laugh at or reflect on from your time as a student athlete?
Oh goodness. Um, 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 I don't even remember. That was so long ago. Um, I would probably say, just the road trips maybe. I mean, it was just kind of different. It was, I remember sleeping on the floor of the van on the Whitworth trips, and my doubles partner like doing push-ups in the middle of matches. It was, just here and there things will trigger my memory of awesome things that happened way back when. But um, uh, I don't know if anything in particular stands out. There were so many great moments.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to join us and talk to us about the programs. Looking forward to honoring your seniors coming up in the next couple of days with all of our senior celebrations next week and the virtual LCs. Jimmy Chau, head coach of Lewis and Clark Tennis. Thanks for joining us on lcpioneers.com live.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan.
You're welcome. Thank you. That was fun. I really like Jimmy. He's a great guy to have on our staff and someone who has really been helpful in all the things that we've been trying to do with lcpioneers.com and our social media, and just is one of those guys who always has a tremendously positive attitude with everything that happens with Lewis and Clark. It's someone, yeah, I think they talk about the idea of like brand advocates, right? You have these people who just organically end up loving everything about something. And in this case, I mean, I don't know if there's a bigger fan of Lewis and Clark than Jimmy Chau. So his student athletes definitely love him, and he's been a great person to have on our staff. So really appreciate him taking the time to join us on lcpioneers.com live. And that said, we have one more show for this week. We'll talk tomorrow with class of 2019 men's golf student athlete Jacob Bell. We haven't had a lot of people come on yet in the realm of politics, and he was a political science major at Lewis and Clark and has actively been working in that field for over a year, even after, or even before rather, his graduation. I mean, he was an intern in the political realm, so really excited to talk to him coming up next, rather tomorrow. We'll have him on our final show of this week, and then next week we already have a couple of our guests confirmed. Neil Ware is the fastest ever in men's cross country for Lewis and Clark, so we will have a chance to talk to him about what he's up to after leaving Lewis and Clark. Has done a lot of things in the legal realm, a lot of things with equality and civil rights, including founding an organization called Equally American, which definitely advocates for the rights of nearly 4 million citizens living in U.S. territories. So excited to talk to him about what he's been up to since leaving Palatine Hill. And then Etta Moen, who is a current Lewis and Clark student athlete for cross country. She'll be entering her senior year next year, and it's off her best ever cross country season in the fall, but also was one of our students from Lewis and Clark who was in the overseas study program when the coronavirus pandemic hit, and she has a story to tell about the journey to get back to the United States. So excited to catch up with her and see how her spring semester, which will, I mean, I don't know how you get any more chaotic, any more crazy than what she had to go through with that. Excited to talk to her about her experience. And we'll have some other guests along the way as well. We'll update you with the full lineup coming up tomorrow. Again, Jacob Bell, our guest, coming up tomorrow. Other than that, we appreciate taking the time to join us. I do want to invite you to go to lcpioneers.com/YLC, an opportunity to see what's going on with the virtual visit opportunities at Lewis and Clark. Also, some of the Instagram live things that they are doing Tuesdays and Wednesdays in particular. Yesterday, they had an Instagram Live campus tour with a current student, and then they do these great information sessions with different Q&As as well. Um, Today at 12 o'clock is the volleyball program's coffee chat, and Coach Hayes telling us in the comments below, opportunity to visit with the coaching staff. And so no guests today because there's an administrative assembly, but excited to start replaying some of the shows that they've done. They've had different guests, including Ann Bentley, who is our faculty athletic representative. One of them, I should say, Rocky Campbell, who's an alumnus of the tennis program, competed with Coach Chau and is now an assistant coach on Coach Chau's staff. So those are a couple of things that she's had, a couple of people she's had on her program. That's at 12 on Instagram. Handle is LC Pios VB. And then tomorrow at 4, LC Pios XCTF. You can go ahead and check out the cross country programs conversation. It's always head coach Matthew Burrow, assistant coach Jeffrey Randall, talking about some of the things that they've been up to in their conversations with different track and field and cross country athletes throughout the country and how they brought those experiences to their student athlete base. So until we talk to you again tomorrow at 11:30, I'm Ryan Goff. Thanks for having fun with us on lcpioneers.com live. Goodbye, everybody. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Nick Lombardi. Something I've learned at Winter.
Lewis and Clark is amazing.
Beautiful campus, small classes.
When you really come here, you get this sense, the feeling that this is a place that you could spend 4 years.
I was so comfortable learning and growing here.
There's no ostentation, there's no pretension, no status. Everyone's just here to learn.
To this bustling metropolitan area.
The overseas program is giving you the opportunity to explore the world, go to places that you never thought of. Just come here, just visit the school, and you're gonna fall in love with it.
It's time to explore Lewis and Clark.